Black Friday is almost here, and with it comes another opportunity brought to you by the sponsor of this video, Amazon Appstore. They've also lent me a QR code so you can view the site, and if you use it to get Amazon coins, you can also support my channel. Amazon Coin is a digital currency that is available through the Amazon Appstore, where you can download your favorite games. You can purchase Amazon coins to use it to get several items through the Amazon Appstore. Doing so can let you save on apps, games, and in-app purchases. Now you might be wondering, why not just spend regular money? You see, Amazon Coins has a nice bonus added to it. The more you purchase, the greater the discount applied to the sale, so you potentially get more mileage out of the money you plan to spend. There are multiple packs of different discounts, so feel free to take a look and pick what appeals to you. Not only that, but starting November 24th at 2 o'clock PST, it will be Amazon Coins Black Friday week, where you will earn 3% Amazon coins back on all in-app purchases to make your money go farther. This offer will only last until the end of November. If you play War of Divisions, they have the same offer there, but the duration scales back by a day. In order to get access to Amazon coins, you must be using the version of the game downloaded from the Amazon App Store. So if you're a spender looking for ways to get more out of your money, consider Amazon Coins. This is a pretty useful feature that can help you with your budgeting, so if you're interested in this, make sure to use the link in the video description as it supports this channel. Thanks again to Amazon Appstore for sponsoring this video, and speaking of which, let's get back to it. 2B's original form had the ability to self-destruct. This 2B doesn't have that ability, so already we're at a pretty bad spot. Expectations are low. Where is the self-destruct ability? Let's tear into this unit. B's Trustmaster reward is a materia that lets your unit equip katanas, boost their attack, and gives a double human and machine killer. Individually, the equipment enabler and killers are a bit niche, but both can be valuable effects in the right hands. Furthermore, it's all this at once, so really hard to complain. Her Super Trustmaster reward is a two-handed katana with high attack. When equipped onto 2B, it'll give her 500 extra attack, and further boost her equipment attack while, well, she can only really carry this if that's the case anyways. It also has two other cool passives, a 30% boost to physical evasion and quite a bit of limit burst regen too. On to her active abilities. True Charge Vote will dispel any elemental imbues on 2B, and then imbue light on herself. If you raise the Brave ability, it will also inflict a 140% light imperil, and increase her light damage by 60%. Charge Vote is the same thing but lightning, but also weaker if you raise the light one. The imperil drops to 120%, and the amplification buff to 45%. Still pretty decent honestly. Supreme Support Weapon can be used once per battle. It boosts 2B's light damage by a whopping 150%, raises her accuracy, fills her limit burst gauge, and fills the morale gauge. R040, Blade, is a self-chaining attack that chains the bolting strike, scales of morale, and fills her limit burst gauge by 1/3 of each use. This is under the assumption her limit burst is at max level. Once raised, Pod Charge will boost 2B's attack by 400%, defense and spirit by 300%, gives her a full re-raise, a 60% double mitigation buff against humans and machines, and fills her limit burst gauge by 1/3. Passives. But for Trustmaster reward or Super Trustmaster reward equip, 2B will get a massive increase in equipment attack while carrying a single weapon, a huge boost to limit burst damage, half the cap to the chain limit boost, a powerful double killer against all species, and changes her normal attack to Yorha number 2 Type B, which deals damage that chains a bolting strike, and fills her team's limit burst gauges by a small amount. This is a critical passive, given that otherwise, this box is pretty empty. Still, this will mean she'll have incredible killers to go along with her innate human and machine killer. She also has a decent amount of physical evasion. At EX plus 2 she gets Update, 2B. This is Warring Spirit with some morale, but also grants an extra 500 attack. She also gets Code E. I have no idea what this is, but it gives her an extra 2,500 HP and 500 attack. We're not done here, as she gets a third passive in Resonant Force. When in the same team with a Neovision A2, 2B will automatically cast Resonant Force each turn, boosting her limit burst modifier and recovering 5,000 HP. This limit burst modifier boost is extremely unimpressive outside of morale fights, and even at max level, it doesn't look that great. However, let's look at her limit burst. It inflicts a 35% katana imperil, deals self-chaining damage to Chains of Extreme Nova, Scales of Morale, and also hits twice, meaning any modifier boost will be doubled. Time to change forms. 2B has a true Brave Shift, which has no limitations whatsoever. Onto her active abilities. True Charge Spear will give 2B a whopping 250% Machine Killer buff, a 150% physical Machine Killer for the rest of your team, and then deals damage that Scales of Morale. It also deals more damage to Machine-type enemies, and fills the morale gauge as well. True Charge Blade is the same thing, but humans. Avoid inflicts a 25% Katana Imperil, buffs your team's attack and defense by 300%, their lightning and light resistance by 100%, lets your team evade 4 attacks, and fills the morale gauge. Passives. They're the same. However, this also means her EX plus 2 ability Resonant Force is the same, meaning the Land Burst in this form won't get buffed. Speaking of which, let's look at her Land Burst. It inflicts a 25% Imperil against swords, great swords, katanas, axes, hammers, spears, throwing weapons, and fists. It also boosts her Land Burst damage by 250%, and then deals damage that Scales of Morale. Finally, it also strengthens the damage modifier for base Land Burst. But let's step back and rank Brave abilities. I'd prioritize Pod Charge to raise the attack boost and re-raise potential, True Charge Vote to increase the power of the amplification buff, and Avoid to lower its MP cost. Time to make a damage rotation. On turn 1, cast Pod Charge, and double cast R040, Blade. On turn 2, activate her Brave Shift, and use her Land Burst. On turn 3, return to her base form, cast True Charge Vote, Supreme Support Weapon, and R040, Blade. On turn 4, use her Land Burst. Repeat the rotation from here. So, EX2? EX plus 2 unlocks several passives. The total stats are quite significant, and Warring Spear can let you start the fight with her Brave Shift's Land Burst, speeding up the rotation. EX plus 2 also unlocks Resonant Force. HP regen aside, as I briefly mentioned before, the modifier boost isn't that significant outside of morale fights, but nevertheless, a buff is still a buff. It also doesn't mean much if you don't have Neo Vision 8 but surely we don't have to worry about that, right? Lastly, EX plus 2 also gives you her Super Trustmaster reward. Her Super Trustmaster reward not only has high attack, but good evasion and a Land Burst regen. These effects might not be totally optimal when it comes to damage for other units, but it can help in some strategic plans. Independently, that was a lot, and all of this can be yours by reaching EX plus 2. Definitely a considerable boon for anyone. EX plus 3 gives you the Nier Automata Vision card. This card is amazing for the Nier units, but, well, when it comes to other units, it's a bit trickier. Being a pure attack stat card, it's heavily limited to typical physical damage dealers, but the issue with that is the fact that more and more cards are starting to accumulate additional bonus stats for units from similar series, thereby pushing the stats given by the card immensely. This wouldn't be too major a blow if this were a normal card, but this is EX plus 3. If you don't have the Lapis or the money to get it quickly, you'll have to put the Nier Automata unit through the Daily Fragment Challenge. Of course, nevertheless, it is a premium card, so it isn't strictly bad. Look at these passives. It's just when it comes to premium unit cards, it's a bit limited in applicability. So how good is 2B? She's a damage dealer, but despite her role limitations, she's also got some support for whatever reason. I'm not complaining. While it's true the killer buffs, stat buffs, elemental resistance buffs, and evasion aren't nil, it's still something your team can potentially benefit from. Of course, being a damage dealer, 2B will be going out of her way to supply these buffs, which is an understandable detour. When it comes to passives, there are a few gaps, but ultimately not really detrimental. I really think you can dedicate her Brave Shift to defensive sets if necessary, but of course, everything depends on the fight. But what about her damage output? Even outside of morale fights, 2B's modifier is great and can be taken to even higher heights by using her buffs. Most units dream of being matched against the right species for that number, but it's no trouble for 2B. Furthermore, she not only has an incredible elemental burst buff, but also gets to enjoy excellent sustained self buffs, a great kit, ample flexibility, and the money you've spent. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Comment below if you summon 2B. Despite all these awesome things going for her, she does have one grievous flaw. And I'm not talking about the self-destruct. You see, the original 2B could also eat a macro and die. So basically what I'm trying to say is,